odd, but there was an agreement between Netanyahu, our prime minister, and Putin when he visited Moscow that we will stay out and the Russians are not going to disturb us. So the Russians are heavily involved with Syria. Syria apparently will turn into a federation. It will not be any more a united country. And accordingly, we in Turkey, we are both the two countries that can really maintain the stability in the Middle East. Regarding all the Arab countries, and we are all supporters of the United States. Turkey is a member of NATO. We are not, but we have a very strong alignment with the United States. We have a very strong army, and therefore our cooperation with Turkey is the most stabilizing factor in the Middle East. If we have problems, that's not good.
And you told us Erdogan's economically it's has a lot of impact on Turkey economy. He support the economy, but he also is criticized by some, especially about the freedom of expression, about journalists, some academicians. And what do you think about this criticism toward Erdogan?
Well, I think that Erdogan has to follow Kemal Atatürk. He has to keep the democracy the way Kemal Atatürk wanted it. The revolution of Kemal Atatürk was the most important revolution, to my opinion, in the 20th century. And it was also bloodless. And I think Erdogan should keep the democratic system and not try to be a dictator. I know he tried to change the system in Turkey to presidential system, where he, not the prime minister, will have the authority. But he never had the majority of the parliament to do it until today. He has a prime minister, Davutoglu, who does whatever Erdogan tells him, but constitutionally, he doesn't have the power. It's with the prime minister. So far it didn't change. And he has to keep the democracy. Because if he doesn't keep the democracy in Turkey, first he lose the United States. Then he lose also in Europe. And he also will lose internally. And I believe that he understands it.
I have also another question. Actually, I want to speak about the ISIS. But before ISIS, your president, Reuven Rivlin, said he is concerned about people who live in Turkey, Jewish people, because he said ISIS might attack the Jewish people in Turkey, especially the children. Do you have any information about this? Is there any possibility?
Yes, it is possible. They say it very openly. That they will attack Israel and Jews any place they can. You remember, you have to understand, ISIS is not just a terrorist organization. They have an ideology that they would like to have extreme Islamism state control the whole Middle East. And the Jewish community in Turkey enjoyed relatively good relations and good for years. We have to remember that the Jewish community in Turkey was developed in 1492 after the expulsion of the Jews from Turkey, from Spain. They came to Turkey. And we should always remember, during the Holocaust, 1939 to 1945, Turkey did not allow the Nazis to touch the Jewish community. All of them stayed intact.
Yes, it was
the only country.
It was the only country.
All over Europe, the Jews were taken to Auschwitz, including from Greece. The only country in all of Europe that did not touch and do anything to the Jewish community and didn't allow the Germans to touch them is Turkey. We will be forever grateful to Turkey for being it. I lost all my family in the Holocaust, 300 people in Poland. I wish they would have come to Israel and they would have been supported by Turkey as well. But they didn't. So the Jewish community, also in Turkey, most of them left for Israel many years ago, but some stayed. I met them. They gave me a farewell party in Istanbul when I left, and they are doing quite well.
And so, which means you see ISIS as a threat for Israel and for, of course, all of the world.
And for the Jewish people.
For the Jewish
absolutely,
people.
yes.
So,
but they can be controlled. They declared a war against the West and Israel. And the West has to respond accordingly. And the only one who can do it is the United States to lead it, which means to send infantry and forces to the Middle East, fight them, finish them, and go back. The whole idea of not having boots and only through Air Force, it won't work. I was an Incirlik, the largest American base in Turkey, part of NATO, and I saw what they are able to do. That's the only way to do it, is to fight them all the way. Otherwise, they are going to do more and more Brussels. They said that there are 400 terrorists all over Europe.
Also Europe, yes.
That's right.
So why does Israel join the international coalition against the ISIS?
We did.
If you saw.
No, we did. We did not
as a
officially, because we do not want. So far, ISIS is not doing anything to us, and it don't want to be a war. But we did, and we already provide a lot of intelligence and information to the coalition, mainly to the United States. In reality, we are part of the coalition.
But the ISIS leader Baghdadi, he threatened your country, and he said we were going to close to you. Even though he declared the threat, he threatened your country. Your attitude toward the ISIS, it is more, how to say, I mean, you are haven't joined the coalition,
Yes,
even though
we
you said even though you said you helped the international coalition. I mean, formerly you didn't join. You haven't joined yet.
That's because we do not want to be in an official war against them.
Why?
Because we have to be very careful.
Yeah.
We have, remember, Israel is the only country in the world that there are people around it that are declaring our destruction. The war of the Arabs with Israel is not only a war of territory, it's a war of our existence. And we have Al-Qaeda with 100,000 missiles today in Lebanon, and we have to deal with it. So we did, in reality, we did join the coalition against ISIS. I'm sorry. And in reality, we did. I cannot turn it off like this. No, I didn't realize it. Okay, they stopped. Anyhow, in reality, we are part of the coalition. We are fighting ISIS, but we want to make sure that our
to be targeted by ISIS.
Excuse me?
If I summarize, you don't want to be targeted by ISIS directly.
That's right.
I see. And I have also another question. What caused ISIS to be exist in the Middle East? What do you think? Because of what policy ISIS became so strong in the Middle East?
From one big factor. First facts. The people of ISIS are the former soldiers of Saddam Hussein in Iraq. So when United States managed to take off Saddam Hussein, they disarmed the Iraqi army. So it left thousands of soldiers without anything. So they formed ISIS. And it was a big mistake. A big mistake. The Iraqi army should have stayed there. You change Saddam Hussein and you keep the army. This was always the system of the Romans. They used to come, take off the heads of the states, keep the army to continue. This was a mistake, and this is how ISIS developed.
Yes, I mean the policy, U.S. policy and other
Yes,
policy
correct.
caused the ISIS to be exist in the Middle East, and they are also very strong in the Europe. Even besides the Middle East, they have a lot of bomb attacks in Turkey, in Paris, in Belgium, and they becoming more threatening. And what do you think in the future the situation is going to be worse?
No, the future is going to be, and you can see already, even in Belgium, that the West is going to act against ISIS in Europe, in every place. I believe even in this country, there are elections now, but it doesn't matter who is going to be the president. He will have to lead the defense against ISIS, and they have to be finished. If they ever attack us in the north, we'll finish them there. And that's why they don't attack us.
Even though they are very they have a lot of attacks in the Europe, you believe that it's going to be end somehow in the future? How?
Yes, I think it will
Because
be ended by eliminating ISIS by force. America and Europe, they have much stronger armies than to ISIS, and they have the information, and we know where they are, and we are providing a lot of intelligence to Turkey and to Europe and so on. Yes, Turkey will have an important role against ISIS now that ISIS is already an enemy of Turkey, basically, even though Erdogan didn't want it at the beginning, but that's the fact of life. Yes, I think that's going to happen. That's the only way. You know, it reminds me of World War II. Between 1935 to 38, if England and France would have resisted Hitler, World War II will never occur. We know it. So, but now we learn the mistakes. We cannot have a terrorist group like this continuing to bomb, attack, kill, and being unanswered. So they will have to be tackled in Europe, every place. And the United States is the leader, and they have to do it. To my opinion, they will. There are elections now.
But after
We
election,
may have to wait, yes. That whoever is going to be in power will have to do it.
and also Turkey is criticized, but by some not to be more maybe have a more I don't know.
1 minute, it's okay.
Turkey is criticized by some. It's not to be more have more strong position toward the ISIS, and you also partly mentioned. And could you please a little bit speak about this?
Yeah, Turkey wanted to avoid more internal terror. They have problems internally with the Kurds, as you know. So, at the beginning, they even supported ISIS. They thought, okay, they'll stay there, won't be with us. But now it's different, and they understand it, and I think they are already supporting the war against ISIS. They have no other choice. So they learned the hard way, unfortunately, but they will fight ISIS. by now already are part of the coalition